As you might know, Catherine always gets excited when a walk or a hike are on the cards. And here, on the small island of Årøya too, this is no different. After having done some research, even I got excited when I found out that not only there are some interesting historic facts about Årøya, but that there is an extensive system of formerly secret bunkers from the Second World War, a war grave, and other ruins to explore on this small island. These bunkers are part of Hitler's Atlantic Wall fortifications, built during the Second World War, that extended from the French-Spanish border as far north as here. We have seen a few of these places since we left the south of England by boat. No wonder, the Atlantic Wall included over 15,000 bunkers. And all of them seem to have been built by the same architect. And also, all give me the same oppressive and eerie feeling whenever I crawl into one of these dark, cold and humid holes. So why was this remote place of such interest to the Germans during the Second World War? From the vantage point of the old commander bunker, it becomes obvious that control over the Lyngen Fjord with its deep waters and surrounding terrain gave a formidable strategic advantage for naval operations and attacks on the Allied shipping convoys with essential supplies from the west to the Soviet Union's Arctic harbors of Murmansk and Arkhangelsk. Spooky! Spooky! As usual during the war, the Germans used forced labor and prisoners of war, mostly captured Soviet soldiers in the case here, to build the fortifications. As we edit this video in the comfort of Polaris' warm and dry cabin, outside it is blowing a hoolie and it's bitter cold and dark. No wonder many of these poor prisoners without proper shelter did not survive the harsh climatic conditions and the inhuman treatment by the Nazi henchmen. But more about this later. After the end of the Second World War, the Norwegian army took control of the island and restricted access for civilians until 2006. Today, except from a few sheep and thousands of birds nesting here during the breeding season, the island of Årøya is uninhabited, and you can only visit this place with your own boat. During the bird breeding season, the larger south part of the island is a nature reserve with restricted access. But as the nesting season has ended a couple of days ago, the whole island is now open for us to explore.
Etwas kommen immer zu zweit.
Ah ja?
Wenn Mami einen gefunden hat, dann hat sie immer gesagt, Anko, schau, wo ist der Zweite?
Nehmen wir ihn da, oder? Fast wie künstlich angelegt.
We could easily spend days exploring the island, exploring, foraging and firing up the small sauna that is here for the public to use. And unlike in the last episode, this time we do have some footage.
Kleine Ferien und dann muss ich es Promenade machen.
Durch die Tür durch.
Das ist sicher nicht.
Trying it out.
Whoa! Poof! This is cold.
Time for a barbecue. On our walk to the barbecue site, we discover it. In this small and remote grave rest the two former Soviet prisoners of war, 33-year-old Ivan Mikhailovich Makarov and 34-year-old Yegor Andreyevich Zadzikov. In 2022, this memorial has been erected over their graves as a silent reminder of a dark chapter in history. Yesterday, on their afternoon run, Nora and Catherine discovered this rather lovely barbecue site on the east side of the island. And we decided this place with its spectacular views is well worth a visit.
Prost!
Cheers!
Så vad? Cheers! Skål! Först
Jetzt so, Nora hat alle Spuren gesehen.
Super. Schön sauber alles. È solo che zitto, di sono.
Ja, 2 Meter. The next morning we are greeted by a thick fog, an unerring sign that the Arctic summer is coming to an end. But the morning sun quickly burns away the fog and we get ready for our next adventure.
Schau mal, was du angerichtet hast.
Ja, schön.
We are very excited to go for a visit of the world's most northerly distillery in a place called Lyngseidet. When we booked our visit, we were told by the kind staff that we could berth Polaris on their small pontoon without a problem. So let's go and check it out. Well, it turns out that the small floating pontoon of the distillery is far too light and fragile for our Polaris. And so we decide to continue our journey to the guest pontoon in Lyngseidet. From there, we'll make the journey to the distillery with a taxi.
dried fish from us, and they said yes, of course, but then you have to buy wine from us. That's why we have the wine monopoly. So they are controlling everything that's over 4.7% in alcohol strength. So yeah.
We are rather surprised to hear that the distillery is not allowed to directly sell their products to visitors. Due to Norwegian alcohol laws, any spirits can only be bought at the state-owned Vinmonopolet stores.
Barney grows constantly for several months because of the midnight sun, which shines 24/7.
It comes to quantity, but of course we try to be better in quality. I have to say, up until between 6 and 7 days now. So we have a really long fermentation process, and that will give us a lot of richer taste. That has peat in it. We have to use this one here. Peat takes a long time to clean out of the brew house. So this is where we control everything. So yeah, it's precise down to 0.1 degrees Celsius, so it's easier, it's more modern. All stills have to have a female name, or else it's bad luck. Even though you might not be superstitious, you won't mess with that, you just do it. So, Gad, she was from the Norse mythology, she was a beautiful, beautiful giant living in Jotunheim.
Yes.
No, it's the true gods. So I can't tell you that we have the world's best gin and say you're not going to be able to taste it. Of course, we have to taste it. Limited edition cost.
Under the brand name of Bifrost, the Årøya Spirit Distillery produces some very fine whiskey, vodka, gin and aquavit, the unmissable ingredient to any dinner party in the Nordic countries. And whilst they are not allowed to sell the spirit directly, we are getting a generous tasting of their delicious products. I take the midsummer aquavit.
The doctor, Hans Olav, he had planned this, so he wanted the Torpetter to quit his job and they would invest together to start this business. And after a couple of whiskies and a couple of beers, he said yes. And only 3 years later, the buildings here was done. The whole idea is that we were going to use all the NATO bunkers for storing.
After a short refreshment, the tours goes on to the warehouses, a repurposed NATO bunker from the Cold War, which provides an ideal climate to age vodka, gin and aquavit.
That's why we have the Viking Longhouse. That's only whiskey, only for whiskey.
Let's have a look inside this replica of a Viking Longhouse. It is used to mature the whiskey in oak casks until it reaches the right age to be released into the world.
To me this smells like money because this is where all of our income lies.
Future income.
Future income, that's true. Distillery in Lyngen, will he give me a loan? No bank will give money for that. But he knew a lot of people, and a lot of these guys are really, really local. They invested 10, 20, 30,000 euros each or whatever they went in with, and they got a cask as insurance. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you react to our peated whiskey, because this is the most
Not that much anymore. I mean,
and he's thirsty now.
no! What are you doing? No!
That's a big one. I'm going to put it back in.
Yeah.
Oh, you made a mess.
You made a mess.
That's your mess, that's only mine.
Yeah.
That happens every time.
We made a mess.
The Odin's share will vaporize and the coloration it will get more and more from the casks. We are quite lucky here in the Arctic North because our Odin share is basically the lowest in the world.
Whilst Bifrost gin, aquavit and vodka are available to buy at almost any Vinmonopolet store, up to now we have not been able to find any of their whiskies to buy. Any release of this heavenly juice is usually sold out in a snap. Where are we going?
To the Rottenvik Vatnet. It's a glacier lake, and it looks really.
How far is it? 13 kilometers.
7 kilometers
Oh, okay.
and 460 meter of latitude. That's it. Not bad.
You might have guessed it by now. This hike will end differently to what it was labelled. During the steep ascent to the ice blue glacier lake, Catherine spoke to a local couple, and it didn't need a lot of explaining how to walk all the way back to Lyngseidet, across this high plateau in the Lyngen Alps. I do admit, this really is a stunning landscape, and in retrospective, missing it would have been a shame. We hope you enjoy the walk. Dat wordt ziemlich heavy da, hè? Join us next time when we take back to the water for some real sailing to the fishing harbours of Torsvåg and Kvaløyvågen, and when we sail the ocean outside mainland Norway before heading back to Tromsø. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give us a like, leave a comment, share and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.